Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning.
Working out some technology here. Get rid of this echo.
Yeah.
Okay, that should be much better. How's everyone doing today?
Good. How's it going this morning?
Doing well, thank you.
We are live on Facebook. We'll get started in about 2 minutes here to let a few more people join.
Okay.
We'd like to thank you so much, Mr. Rose, for facilitating this Zoom call.
Oh, thanks for inviting me. Thanks, I appreciate it. I always look forward to the opportunity to talk about the work that we do and make sure that people understand the resources that are available. So thanks.
Thank you, sir.
I got some activity happening over here, so I'm kind of trying to mute out in the beginning here. But I'll be ready to go once we get ready to go.
Okay. And just to let everyone know, we are live on Facebook as well. And these videos reach about 5,000 people through social media. And we do get some comments and interaction from social media.
So, Cornell, how long do you want me to speak, and then how much for Q&A? We didn't talk about it, but how do you want to map out the hour?
We're going to go for an hour till 1 p.m. We can start by you giving us an introduction of the land bank and what it does, and we have several members who have some prepared questions for you.
I'll keep my remarks to about 10 minutes then.
Okay, that works.
I'm asking, yeah, that's good, 10, 15 minutes. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so it's 2 minutes after, so we will get started. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Cornell Darden Jr., President and CEO of the Southland Black Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We're headquartered in Joliet, but we represent the Southland, south side of Chicago, southern Cook County, Will County, Kankakee County, and Grundy County. So we cover a large service area, and we are committed to economic development and prosperity in the Southland. I want to start with introductions of everyone on the call. So we can start with Ms. Shireen Goodman. You're still on mute, Ms. Goodman. There you go.
Right. Thank you. So first, this is my first Zoom call. Thank you for having me. So I am a business management consultant, business coach. My company is Elevate Worldwide. My small business arm of my business is ShireenGutman.com. And so right now, I'm just working with a lot of people who are just a little concerned about what's going on with their business. So I'm excited to hear what the conversation is about today. Okay. You're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was muted now. Also, welcome, Ms. Goodman.
Thank you.
Next, we have Beneva McCullum. And you're muted, Beneva. Here, let me see if I can unmute you. There you go, Beneva.
Beneva McCullum, can you hear me, Cornell?
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, everybody. Happy to be on. Beneva McCullum with Southland Chamber Membership Director, and excited to hear about the call this morning.
Awesome, welcome. Next, we have Damien.
I'm Damien Rivera with Tree Moguls. I do marketing, branding in the cannabis and CBD space.
Welcome, Damien.
Thank you.
Next, we have Janaya. You may have to unmute, Janaya. Okay, we'll come back to Janaya. Next, we have Erica.
Hello, everybody. My name is Erica. I am the Vice President of the Southland Black Chamber of Commerce. Just excited to hear what we've got to say today. Thank you.
Okay, welcome, Erica. Next, we have Kiara.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kiara, Membership Coordinator of the Southland Black Chamber of Commerce, also owners of Suki's Creations.
Awesome. Welcome, Kiara. Next, we have Rashonda Hall.
Hi, my name is Rashonda Hall. I am a part of the team that supports Rob Rose, and I own my own social media marketing firm. Thank you.
Awesome. Welcome, Rashonda. Next, we have a call-in number 312-404-7986. Would you like to introduce yourself? I believe we have two call-in numbers, so we have a 6069 as well. Would you like to introduce yourself? Okay, so we will get started. Last but not least, we would like to introduce Mr. Rob Rose.
Well, thank you. Thank you again to Cornell for his leadership in the Southland Black Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to speak to you today about my organization, the Cook County Land Bank Authority. So I'll take some time to talk about who we are and what we do, and then I'll answer some questions that you may have about the work that we do. So before I get started, I'll introduce myself. So Rob Rose, Executive Director of the Cook County Land Bank. I've been with the organization now for a little over 5.5 years, and moved here from Texas about 10 years ago. I live in the Southland. I'm a proud resident of Flossmoor, and excited about the work that we're doing and the impact that it's having around the county. We work both in the city of Chicago and in suburban Cook. So the things that I talk about today are going to be tools and resources available to the Southland. So with that, I'll get started about to talk about the Cook County Land Bank Authority. So the organization is a part of Cook County government. So that's the first question that we get asked. Are we a nonprofit, or what's our structure? So the Land Bank is an independent agency that sits in the office of President Tony Preckwinkle. We do have an independently appointed board that's appointed by President Preckwinkle and the Board of Commissioners. That board is chaired by Commissioner Bridget Gaynor. And we have a number of board members that are appointed according to the ordinance. So we have suburban mayors, we have banking and nonprofit housing advocates. So it's a pretty prescriptive list that gives us a good representation around the county in terms of looking at the needs of land and being able to make sure that we are doing things in an equitable and in a fair manner in terms of how we go about doing the work that we do. And it's also important, I think, to mention the structure, because as such, the things that we do in the mission that we have is well aligned with other county programs and resources. And before the end of this call, I'll make sure that if you haven't had a chance to talk to some of the people in the Bureau of Economic Development, so we share our floor space with that group. If the chamber has not had a chance to talk with the Bureau of Economic Development, I think that would be a nice group to have on to talk specifically about the resources they have, both in COVID and and just in general, that will help the formation of small businesses, here in the Southland. So the agency, the land bank, what do we do? So the second question I get asked is, so how do I apply for a loan? You're a land bank. So the word bank in our name refers to our ability to hold property or to bank property. So we're not a financial institution. We do not offer loans or gather deposits in any way. So we're not a bank in that sense. But what we do is that we acquire vacant, abandoned, and distressed properties throughout the county, both in the city of Chicago and in suburban Cook. We acquire these properties, we clear title, meaning that we get rid of all the barriers that make it impossible for a title or a property to be conveyed from one party to the next. And then we sell those properties at below market prices to homeowners, developers, investors, business owners, nonprofit organizations, with the intent that these groups will rehab the property, bring them back on the tax rolls, put them back to productive use, so that we are able to take an abandoned property and now have a thriving business, a homeowner, a nonprofit organization that can use that space. So that's at the heart of what we do in terms of the mission, is to return these properties back to productive use. And the way we do that is the detail on that is really where the work comes in. There are a number of different ways by which we're able to acquire properties. There are foreclosure sales that we can participate in. There's court actions. So when the court deems something to be a vacant or abandoned, there's a process we can go through to acquire that property. And we also acquire properties through the tax sale. So there is a process called the scavenger sale that takes place every 2 years. And these are properties that have been long-term vacant and have at least 3 years of unpaid taxes. We target properties that are vacant and abandoned. So we're not kicking people out for not paying taxes, but for those buildings that aren't paying their taxes because they're abandoned, the owners walked away, the owner's out of the country, or whatever the situation is, the owner's no longer engaged and that property is vacant, then we're targeting those properties, being able to acquire them, again, clear title, and then make those available to you. So the important thing is, as we're going through and doing all this work, the inventory that we have is available to everyone in the county. There is no special code. There is no secret number. There is no back door. You don't need to know me or the president or anybody else to get these properties. Everything that we have is on our website. So I'll give this to you, and I'm sure Cornell will send some information out after this call. But our website is cookcountylandbank.org. Or if you Google Cook County Land Bank Authority, will be the first thing that pops up. cookcountylandbank.org. On our website, you're able to see all of the properties that we have available for sale. If you see it on the website, that means it's available for you to place a bid on. And you're able to go to the site, select the property, and if it's a property that you're interested in, you're able to put it in an application. The application doesn't cost you anything. It's a 14-question application of mainly yes, no's, and some disclosures. We're really just trying to get an idea of what you think you may want to do with the property. But once you fill that application out, then you get an email from my staff telling you, walking you through the next steps. Whether it's vacant land or a structure or a business, we'll walk you through what those next steps are in terms of how you go about to see the property and how you go about putting in an offer for the property. So the thing to remember is go to the website, use the website to allocate a property that you may be interested in, and then put in the application for that property. If it's your first time using the website, you'll be prompted to create an account, a username and password, and that's the login that you would use to put in future applications. So you'll get that information as you log in. And so the question always comes in, what is the process. I see this property on your website. I want to look at that property. What do I do? The first step is to go to our website, to locate the property on our website, and then to put in an application. So I will, someone's asking in the chat, what's the link here? I will type it in right now. Cook County landbank.org. So doing that right now. Okay. Like I said, or if you just Google Cook County Land Bank, it will be the first thing that pops up in your Google search. A couple of things I want to mention about putting in an application that I think are very important. One, we don't participate in an auction. So this is a situation where you say, well, I see a property, it's listed for $20,000. I want to put an offer. I want to pay $25,000. The pricing is the pricing. The pricing is set. We're not trying to get the most for the property. What we're trying to do is identify the best person for the property that has the right plan and an ability to execute. So this isn't about who has the biggest paycheck or the biggest checkbook. This is about who has the best plan for the property. So when you're submitting your offer applications, what we're asking you to pay special attention to is the scope of work that you're putting forth. So remember, you get a chance to inspect the property. You get a chance to go inside. And when you go inside and inspect this property, you should take your architect or your general contractor or anyone that you need to help you understand how to bid on this property, what you need to do and address to fix this property up. That information is going to be a part of your offer to us. We're going to ask for a detailed scope of work. We're going to ask for a budget. So what do you intend to do and how much will it cost to make that happen? We also then ask you for evidence of finance. So a commitment letter from your bank. If you're going to use cash, then a verification of deposit to show that you have the cash on hand to cover your budget. But that's all a part of your submission to us. And as we get those materials in, we're evaluating the strength of your bid to make that decision. So that decision is based on the information you give us around what you're able to do. Now, we've inspected all these properties, so we know what needs to be addressed. Part of what we're looking at in your scope of work is to make sure your scope of work addresses all of the issues in that property, okay? We also want to make sure your scope of work is commensurate with the work that's needed in that property. So some of the common things that happen, there's a roof, there's some roof repair that's needed, or the roof is not in good shape. It makes a difference to us whether you're just going to patch the roof or if you're going to replace the roof. It makes a difference if you're going to patch up something that's happening or replace it. So those are the things that we're looking at. So the single greatest tip I can give you, if you're looking at properties and you're trying to figure out how do I assure that I have the best chance of getting that property, I would say make sure that you don't gloss over the scope of work, that is detailed. So a scope of work that says replace windows $5,000 is not the same as saying, replacing 20 windows with triple pane, whatever at this cost, 5 windows at this cost, 3 windows at this cost, right? So that we know and understand you've had a chance to inventory all the windows that you've gone through and you understand what you're going to be putting in there. That scope of work is much more robust than just saying windows $5,000, right? So those are the things that we're looking at. But the point here is that in terms of being able to be awarded the properties, you don't have to, people call, they talk to their county commissioner, they talk to their mayor, their alderman. People are calling me and saying, hey, here's my guy, and he wants a property. And it doesn't work that way. You don't need that influence, and in fact, that is not helpful. It has the opposite effect. Come to the website, see the property, inspect the property, put forth a scope of work, tell us what you want to do. We also allow you to upload a free form. You can use that to tell us about projects that you've done in the past, what your business plan is. People, hey, I'm going to employ hard to employ youth. I'm going to use, returning citizens to do the work. Well, help me understand that and help us understand who you are and what your story is. You can upload that file. You can upload one PDF, but in that PDF, it could be your business plan, your portfolio, some references, some prior projects that you've done. You can use that because you're telling us your story in terms of why we should be selecting you to sell this property. And then oftentimes for a property, there are going to be multiple bidders. So, you know, we're trying to decide between 2 or 3 different groups who should be awarded this property. You should put your best foot forward to let us know who you are and why you should be awarded that property. You also want to think about what it is that you're trying to do with that property. That really helps. There's a difference. There's a tendency for people to say, oh, well, I see a house for $10,000. I really don't care what it is. I want it because that's a cheap house. I can make it work. Again, if you're going up against a person that says, hey, I've identified 5 houses in this area, I've done work in this area, and I'm doing this work to build homeowners and can demonstrate that, again, they're going to be a stronger person for us to go with. So just keep that in mind in terms of working with us. The final thing to keep in mind is that we're not running out of properties anytime soon. So if you see something and you don't get it, don't get discouraged. There'll be more things that are coming up, unfortunately, right? There are 60,000 vacant properties in Cook County. At any one point in our inventory, we only got about 1,000 that, you know, that we have an active inventory, and we're working to cycle that through. That means that we could be here 60 years before we get to all of the properties that we see. And what we're trying to do is increase the number that we have. We're trying to increase the people that we're working with. But I say that to say the opportunity to work with us is there. And so don't think of it, oh, I missed out on that one property. That's the only property I ever get. There's going to be plenty of opportunities. So keep coming back and looking and seeing what we have available that you can work with, especially if you're a small business owner, you have a specific need. Keep looking because our website is dynamic. We update it when we acquire properties, and then when we sell properties or put it in a contract, we remove it. So if you see it on the website, it's available for bid. If you saw something and then it's gone, that means that we've at least put it on the contract and we may have already sold it. But keep checking back because the website is going to be the most update information with regards to product availability. Okay, so with that, I will stop. I think I've covered the high points, and then we can answer some specific questions. And if some questions prompt other things, I can go into more detail.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction, Mr. Rose. Got a echo here, but thank you, Mr. Rose. For all our viewers on Facebook, we are the Southland Black Chamber of Commerce, and we're speaking with Mr. Rob Rose of the Cook County Land Bank. Does anyone on the Zoom call have a question for Mr. Rose?
This is Teresa, Illinois State President for the NAACP. Mr. Rose, I just want to say that was very informative, and people are always contacting us saying that they want to start programs for disadvantaged youth, especially in the Chicagoland area, and they don't know how to go about looking for the property. So I think the information that you provided today has been very helpful, so thank you.
Thank you. And we've been working with your one of your chapters, most notably the West Side NAACP chapter. We've had conversations. They've hosted us before to talk to some of the residents in the Austin area about being able to purchase property. So we are constantly trying to make sure we get the word out in terms of being a resource for those who are looking to do this work. So thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I have a question. So too, I thought that the information, the clarity was real good. So I appreciate that, right? Really understanding what this land bank is all about. So my first question is, and we know the raid is coming with COVID, and there's going to be probably a lot of property that is going to be coming through you. Like, what's like the time frame? I mean, my biggest concern is that there is going to be a big run on property right now and foreclosures. One, do you guys even help to protect people from that? Or is that like totally not in your realm? That's my first question. My second question is, because it sounds like there is opportunity for property development, wealth building opportunities, do you guys, or maybe I shouldn't say that, does the land bank provide programs to help people to prepare to get this property, right? Because to me, there's a learning curve to make sure that this happens through your process, developing scope of work, understanding budget, the whole 9 yards. So
Sure.
one, just to give people the opportunity, because it sounds great, but the art in order to prepare them, or is that a different, different group of people that would do that? So those
Sure.
are my questions.
Those are good questions. So to answer the question about the supports around being prepared to work with us, so there are a number of alliances that we have, and we're looking to always grow those alliances with groups that are doing work to help people prepare to move into this line of business, because this is an entrepreneurial business like any other small business venture. So you need those supports. One of the things that we found to be very effective for us is we stay in the lane in terms of being able to acquire those properties. And there's a heavy legal processes involved with that. And also the process of making sure that we are adequately and accurately evaluating those properties, pricing them out. And so we are really laser focused on that. But we are working with groups such as the Chicago Community Loan Fund that offers technical assistance for those that are looking to be developers or looking to do this work. Also, the Chicago Rehab Network has what they call the Empowerment Series that will take you from, hey, I have a desire, to how do I go about, forming my business, and then, buying properties and that whole thing. We're working with groups like HACIA, the Hispanic American Construction Industry Association. They also have a number of classes that they offer, and you don't have to be Hispanic, but that's just the organization that's doing it. That offer this sort of training. So again, whether you're a tradesman looking to form your own rehab business, if you're a real estate agent just looking to do this work, there are a number of resources around town to do that. The Dearborn Realtors, for example, they're the African American Trade Association here in the region. They also have a series that they do for those that have real estate experience but don't necessarily know how to move into the development game. What we try and do is plug into those different groups because they have that expertise and are working with that. And they are feeding folks to us that have been able to go through their programs and or understand what they're doing. Some of our developers have also started some work. We have a group called the Ultimate Real Estate Group. So Jason and EJ Williams, they have a program they've called the Ultimate Blueprint. And they basically, again, are taking people who have a desire and some cash and want to get into the development game, and then showing them how to do it, showing them how to navigate through to buy properties with the land bank and other groups, how to estimate the work that needs to be done, where to find the financing, and how to get it done. So there are a number of resources around that do that work. And what we try and do is tap into those resources, make sure they know who we are and how to engage with us. And then they can serve as a referral source for people coming to the land bank to buy the properties. But we don't offer any technical assistance. What we do is partner with those other groups. So that answers the one question. Your second question was around, I'm sorry, I think I lost the question.
So the second, the first, well, which was the first, so it's really about, and maybe this is just part of it, kind of helping to prevent the foreclosures.
Oh,
to help get in the tax sales. I mean, helping to prevent that before it even happens, right?
Sure.
So, and I mean, that's a lot of property. Just so, because you said there were 60,000.
60,000. That's an estimate.
Yeah, but that's a lot, right?
Yes,
and so
absolutely.
It's going, so that pool is going to increase. We can guarantee it's going to increase in the next, 90 days to a year, right? If not more. And so, so when I just think in terms of how to prevent it before it gets to you, just a thought.
Right. So yeah. So much like with the working with these other groups around what they do. There's a lot of groups that work with housing and foreclosure prevention. And again, what we're doing is we're tapping into them. So strictly speaking, yes, our charge does not give us the ability to intervene beforehand. When you're talking about foreclosure, you're talking primarily about the banking industry and the banking financial institutions, because they have the lien or the mortgage against the property. and it's their actions that they need to take that start the foreclosure process. So it's well understood that the banks have more power to be able to work out and work through things before they move to foreclosure. The foreclosure really should be a last resort. And I think from the prices, I think what you'll see is you'll see more of a willingness for banks to forbear, because what we found out in the financial crisis is that a wholesale foreclosure doesn't help them recover their money, and it doesn't help them in terms of being able to keep a healthy balance sheet. They end up having to reserve more cash and use a lot of resources to try and go after these houses. So I think they understand that wholesale foreclosure isn't the route they want to go in this situation. So you're seeing and hearing more banks willing to forbear. They're giving deferments and forbearances, and they're being more amenable to working things out with the customers versus foreclosure. So I don't anticipate there's going to be as large a bubble. I mean, there will be some foreclosures that come out of it, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as large as it could have been had we not had the lessons of 2008 in front of us. And those banks, frankly, were overwhelmed and couldn't handle the foreclosure volumes and inventory that they received. But with that being said, you have a number of these agencies that are offering that foreclosure protection to inform homeowners of their rights. And so, we're working with groups like Spanish Coalition for Housing, the Urban League, Genesis Housing, NHS, Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago, both in the city and the south suburbs, the South Suburban Housing Center. These groups are there to offer that guidance to homeowners. And so as you know that people are having some issues, really finding them and routing them to those folks, because they can help them with understanding how to modify their loans, how to have that conversation with their lenders. And then there's a number of resources that are available specifically through the Illinois Housing Development Authority and the Federal Home Loan Bank that may also be able to provide some relief in terms of restructuring the mortgage so that it's more affordable, during this time. But again, what we do is we want to partner and be linked up with those folks as opposed to us doing that work. I just don't have the staff resources or the charge to do that, unfortunately. And we talk about the tax sale, you're talking about a whole nother animal. We really need major tax reform in the state. And we won't even begin to do anything until we get that reform. So what we're doing is we're trying to be a big Band-Aid on a century-old problem here in Illinois. So unfortunately, what we're trying to do is make sure we shorten the time between when something's abandoned and can be reoccupied. But the prevention through the tax sale is something that falls beyond our charge.
Does that answer your question?
Say it again?
I was just checking to make sure that answered her question before I moved on.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was great. So thank you, Rob. I appreciate that. Maybe just as a follow-up, so all the organizations that you talked about, is that kind of like on your website as well? Like some people can figure out what those are? Or is that something that the South Chamber of Commerce can just maybe post? Because I think it's a lot of great information.
I can make that all that information available to Cornell. Some of them are on our website. Some of them are just partners that we have. Again, as an agency of the county, we have to be careful about who we endorse, if you will. Certainly, I can give that to Cornell as a starting list, and then he may be able to finish it out, round it out. This is just off the top of the head, some of the groups that we're working with.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. So I don't want to put any kind of sticky situations in there. I just thought,
But if you talk about the South Suburbs in particular, it's the South Suburban Housing Center. There in East Hazel Crest. And then the NHS, Neighborhood Housing Services, has the South Suburban branch. So those are the two main groups that are working here in the South Suburbs in terms of working with homeowners, homeowner education, and foreclosure prevention.
Yeah, so if you could forward that information to Cornell, I will make sure he gets it out to our mailing list. And also, if any of you guys on the call are not on our mailing list, if you visit our website, southlandblackchamber.org, there's a pop-up that pops up that will allow you to subscribe to our mailing list without being a member. And we are pretty active on there. We send out multiple emails a week giving updates on important pieces of information like this, plus our events and everything. So you'll be able to have access to that information that way. All right, so if nobody else has another question right now, I've got a couple.
Okay.
My first question is, does the Cook County Land Bank acquire solely single-family homes, or is it a combination of single-family homes, multiple unit apartment buildings and such, and commercial warehouse, anything like that?
No, we acquire everything. So when we started in 2015 in earnest acquiring properties, we started with single-family homes because they were the most ubiquitous and they were the easiest for us to acquire. But since then, we have the full array. So we have vacant land, vacant lots, and land. We have single-family homes, 2 to 4 unit buildings, multifamily buildings, mixed-use buildings, commercial and industrial. Like I said, now our inventory is very dynamic. So you may come in one day and see 1 multifamily building and come back the next month and see 5. What we're trying to do is keep that inventory turning. But yeah, but we are charged with being able to pursue any in every asset class. The only asset class that we do not pursue actively are condos. Condos are a little bit of a different animal in terms of the healthy associations and the assessments and that sort of thing. And we find ourselves can be in a very sticky situation with the condos. So with the condos, we tend not to pursue those unless it's going to be like a condo conversion, and then we're working with groups to be able to do that work. So that's probably the only asset class that if you look through our inventory, you won't find condos.
Perfect, thank you. My next question refers to working with a real estate agent. Does the Cook County Land Bank work with real estate agents as far as looking to acquire properties, and will that real estate agent be compensated via the normal means of a percentage?
Sure. So we work with, we had an RFQ last year for commercial real estate brokers. So we have a stable of about 10 commercial groups that are working with us to be able to provide BPOs, brokers pricing opinions on real estate, and to be able to list those properties for sale. So on the commercial side, that's what we're doing. On the residential side, we have a program called the Home Buyer Direct Program. We have houses that we list specifically to be sold to owner occupants. In that situation, the broker for the buyer, we do pay a buyer's broker commission of 2.5% to them as they bring us their buyers to buy those Home Buyer Direct programs, houses. For real estate agents that refer developers to us or nonprofit organizations to us, we do not compensate those real estate agents for that referral. 2 reasons for that. One, we're working directly with these organizations to do that work. And so the normal sort of real estate function that the broker would play doesn't come into effect in terms of how we're working with that broker. That being said, there's nothing that prevents that broker from having an off-balance sheet or a side agreement in terms of a finder's fee or something like that. We simply just won't pay it through the HUD, or we won't pay it through the settlement. So that's the only situation in which a real estate agent isn't getting compensated. But for the commercial groups that we have, and we'll do another RFQ here soon to allow more commercial real estate brokers to work with us. And then again, if you're working with a Home Buyer Direct program and you're bringing a buyer to buy one of the land bank houses for owner occupancy, then we do pay the broker's commission for that.
All right, thank you. All right, I have another question. My next question is in reference to loans. If we were to prove that we were ready, willing, and able to purchase with a loan, is there a particular type of loan that we would need? Or, I mean, I'm assuming FHA is out of the question for the most part, but if it was a conventional loan or a hard money loan, or just a cash loan from a place that would give me $20,000, is that something that you guys would work with? or are there limitations to that?
Yeah, we work with all of the above, right? I mean, there are people who are able to come in with a conventional that will allow them to use some of that for rehab. If the lender is reputable and works, that's fine. You know, we do look to see who the lender is in terms of what they're charging. There have been a couple of deals that we've had to turn down where a lender came in and was charging almost 25% fees. And we felt that was predatory. We reported them to the state as a predatory lender, and we did not allow that person to use that lender to buy the property. That was just egregious. So we are looking at that. That's the caveat. But outside of that, whether it's friends and family money, whether it's you cashing in your 401k, whether it's you know, a conventional loan, FHA, 203k, you know, all of those are accepted. We're agnostic to the loan source. We want to make sure you're not being taken advantage of. But the different sources of money that come in aren't as big a concern for us in terms of how you get there. We want to be able to substantiate it. So if you're saying, hey, I got some private guys that got this money, somebody has to show us a bank account somewhere that has some money in it so we can verify that. But I don't care, if you will, if it's private money coming in, if it's friends and family, or if it's you cashing in, you know, some retirement monies to make it happen.
All right, thank you. I have one last question
Okay.
for now. Nonprofit organizations. Sorry, there's a bad echo. All right, sorry about that. We had a bad echo over there. I'm in the same car as Mr. Darden, so. Where was I? Oh, nonprofit organizations. Is there a specific process that a nonprofit organization would have to go through that is different than just an individual trying to buy?
Same process. I think that in terms of the requirements, we still want to know that the nonprofit has a plan for redevelopment, that they have the ability to pay for it. It's clear what the purpose is of what that property is going to be used for. For the nonprofits, the only additional process they have to go through is in the closing process. They also have to produce a resolution that authorizes them to enter into this contract. So we have to see that. That's not necessary at the offer, but it will be a pre-closing condition that we know that the executive director or whoever is signing the papers has been authorized by the organization to do so. But the pricing, if that sort of correlates to that, is there special pricing for nonprofits? The answer is no, there's no additional pricing. You'll find that the pricing, what we've done is we really take this down to the bottom layer that we could in terms of the pricing. So for instance, you know, we've got vacant lots in the city of Chicago that right now in the open market are going for 30 to 40,000. We're selling them for 5,000. So as a nonprofit, it's not going to be any lower than that. We feel like we've already taken all the fat out of it and made the price as low as possible. So for the nonprofit, it's really about, again, just explaining how and what you're going to do with it, how you're going to pay for it, and for what purpose will it be used.
I have a quick question. You guys are open to all types of businesses?
Mr. Rose?
Yeah, I got two questions coming in. One from Damien and one from Cornell. Should I answer Damien's question first, Cornell, or do you want to? Okay.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Damien.
And you guys are open to working with all types of businesses?
Oh, absolutely. So the only businesses, well, I think what you're getting at with the cannabis, I think. Yeah, we're going to be, I'm actually meeting with Commissioner Lowry. So, you know, he's now the chair of the Cannabis Commission for the county. And we had a meeting last week, and we have a meeting coming up in a couple of weeks to talk specifically about how the land bank can work with the Cannabis Commission and with those social equity applicants that are looking for places as they're looking to put their applications in. So right now there's a legal question that I have out just asking about the land bank's ability to work in this industry And I think we'll get a favorable legal opinion, but I just want to make sure that we're covered from that standpoint, since, cannabis is still federally,
Right.
a crime, and we're, aiding and abetting, if you will. I want to make sure that the state law and the county ordinances give us adequate protection for working in that. And I anticipate that it will. And so the whole point is that we want to be able to work closely with this commission and with those businesses to be able to provide, places that will be eligible to be used, for these applicants. So in that regard, we work with all those businesses. The big businesses that we don't work with, if you will, are the traditional sin businesses, right? So liquor stores, strip clubs, things of that nature. We don't work with, but cannabis, I think, is going to be on the right side of legal in terms of what we can work with.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I never heard that term before.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My question was concerning the scavenger sale. I heard you say it was every 2 years. Is there one coming up this year?
So the scavenger sale is every 2 years. The next one is scheduled for 2021. Now, don't know what is going to happen with how COVID's going to affect that schedule. So there's 2 sales that take place every year. One sale is called the annual sale, and that's where last year's taxes are sold. And the purpose of the annual sale is for taxing bodies to make up the difference between what they bill and what they collect, right? So I billed for, $1 million, I only collected $800,000. That $200,000 gap, I go to the annual sale, and I'm hoping that private buyers will buy those certificates to help make up that $200,000 gap. That's the annual sale. The scavenger sale takes place every 2 years, and these are for properties that have gone to the annual sale at least 3 times and have not been picked up at the annual sale. So it becomes like a second chance sale. That's what we participate in. And these are properties, typically, if you think about why a property wouldn't get picked up at the annual sale, is one of 2 reasons. Either the person that lives in the house, there's little confidence that that person is going to pay the taxes back, because remember, when people are buying your taxes, primarily they want their money back plus the interest, right? They're not buying it expressly for the purpose of owning your house. That's a result of you not paying your taxes, but that's not their primary motivation. So if I don't have confidence that you're going to pay back the money, then I may not be interested in buying your taxes, right? The second reason would be if I view your property to have low value. If you have low value, in my opinion, then even if I got the house, if it's not really worth a lot of money, I may not do that. So what we see from the annual sale to the scavenger sale is that we see a disproportionate number of houses on the south and west sides of Chicago and in the south suburbs whose taxes never get picked up at the annual sale, and they fall to the scavenger sale. When they go to the scavenger sale, we as a land bank said, what we want to do is break that cycle of disinvestment and go in and pick up these vacant and abandoned properties in the southwest sides and in the south suburbs so we can get them back to productive use. Because if it sits in a scavenger sale more than once, what happens is the taxes and penalties are often a significant barrier for people wanting to buy it. So 5 years from now, man, that's a great house, and name a community, Hazel Crest, but now it's got, $40,000 of back taxes on it. And now I can't make the numbers work. Those are the houses that we're targeting and being able to bring back to the tax rolls by being able to wipe out that $40,000 of back taxes so that you can focus on the rehab and then being able to sell that house to a prospective homeowner.
I think that's an excellent point, right? And understanding, because when I think about, you can do all things when it comes to purchasing property in quote unquote Black community, and you think about redlining and all that stuff that has gone on, that I think it has a big impact on whether somebody will buy property in those neighborhoods. So kind of like, can you speak a bit to really how's that working, right? Like I understand the scavenger sale, like clearing off all those back taxes so somebody can actually come in. Because when you're stacking on those prices, it just makes the deal, I would say, just not really a great deal. You don't get a return on your investment.
So there's two things that are happening, right? So the majority of the inventory that we're getting now is coming through the scavenger sale. And what that allows us to do is it allows us to start to have a foothold in these communities to start to turn them around. So for these areas where they have been long-term vacant housing, now we're starting to be able to acquire those houses and make them available. And now we're actually adding inventory to these neighborhoods, whereas before, the house was always written off, and the natural course of things would be that the house at some point would just be demolished and they would have a vacant lot, which is why in some parts of the city and in the county, you see a lot of vacant lots, a lot of vacancy, and it looks like a little bit of a jack-o'-lantern grin where you have just spots of vacancy. Where what happened was those houses were demolished over time and never rebuilt. And so we're trying to also stem the tide on that. So I'll tell you, there's been two big effects that have happened here. And this is great that I have a forum to talk to you about it. So one, what has happened is that we have absolutely seen a high number of Black and brown small developers being empowered to work in these communities, that they have access to the inventory. There was always a desire to work, but there was not a place to be able to get the properties from. Because you had to be on a list to get it from the banks. And there were a number of wholesalers that were working that, the wholesaling industry was sort of the Wild West that you got. And so, in that, folks just weren't able to either get to the properties or they were, paying double and triple what it was worth to get into the game. And now we're removing that barrier. The second thing that we're seeing is that the entrenched interests in Cook County don't like it. And they have been attacking the organization. They've been attacking me because of that, which encourages me to let me know that we're doing exactly the right thing, that we're giving access to Black people to be able to control their own neighborhood and being able to do the things that we need to do to bring our neighborhoods back. And so we're not looking for handouts. We're not looking for subsidies and all these different things. All we're looking for is fair and equal access to the opportunity. And with that access, we have seen amazing work that's been done around the county in terms of these folks being able to rehab in the neighborhoods. So that's where we are in terms of what we're doing.
Thank you so much. We are starting to run a little short on time now. So does anybody else have a question?
So I hate to cut this short, but I'm going to have to hop. But I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. And Cornell, I'll get you that information today, so you'll have it to get out to the membership. And then if you have any questions, please go to our website, cookcountylandbank.org, and look forward to working with some of you.
Thank you. It was really
you,
great.
Rob.
Thank you.
Nice
Okay, thank you.
information, Rob.
Thanks
Thank
for your
you.
time, bro. Appreciate
Thank you. I
it.
appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Since Mr. Rose has to go, I would like to give everybody else an opportunity to introduce themselves one more time before we get off. I'll start. I am Erica. I am with the Southland Black Chamber of Commerce. I am the vice president, and I'm very thankful that Rob Rose was able to give us all this great information today. Next, we will do Shireen.
Again, Shireen Goodman with Elevate Worldwide and ShireenGoodman.com, the small business arm of my business, helping small businesses keep it together and get it together. We'll leave it like that. But this was really great. I thought the information was powerful. And ideally, we'll be able to take people can take some advantage of what's out there. I think it's so necessary and will be so needful after this COVID crisis. So thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. You asked some great questions today. Thank you so much.
Thank
Next, we
you.
have Damien.
Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it. I'm Damien from Tree Moguls LLC. Basically we're cannabis marketing, branding solutions. And I look forward to working with you guys very, very soon. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Damian. Next, we have Miss James.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you to the Southland Black Chamber of Commerce and all of the members. You guys are awesome. I just get excited every time I get an invite. Just the wealth of information. So I just want to say thank you. I'm James. I'm the Vice President with Addis Home Care. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Wilson.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Terquia Wilson. I am actually the Bronzeville Chamber of Commerce president. I am also the owner of Front and Center Realty and Front and Center Construction. And we do some things with the land bank. So it is a wonderful opportunity. I hope everybody here gets the chance to take advantage of it. Like he said, it's really big for us to buy and own in our communities. Everybody sees the investment in our communities except for us. And then once we see it, do we then have access to it? So this is amazing. And I look forward to keeping in touch with you guys so we can see what you all are doing out there. You can see what we all are doing out here and hopefully collaborate at some point.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to that. Next, we have Mr. Johnson. All right, we can come back to Mr. Johnson. I have Ms. Brown next. All right, then we'll do Kiara.
Hello, everyone. I'm a membership coordinator with the Southland Black Chamber of Commerce and also owners of Sweet Keys Creations. I think today's discussion was a great topic and very informational.
Thank you, Kiara. Next, we have Mr. Craig, Robbie Craig. We're not hearing you, Robbie. Maybe you need to unmute yourself. All right, we'll move on to Ms. Boatman. Are you there, Ms. Boatman? All right, are you there, Mr. Vickers?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, my name is Chad Vickers. I currently own 3 Domino's locations, 2 in the south suburbs and 1 in the city of Chicago. And I just want to say thanks for having me.
Thank you, Chad. We've got Ms. Burris next.
Hi, I'm Carla Burris. I'm the district office manager for Senator Napoleon Harris. And I just want to let you know, I look forward to these meetings because I learned so much from you that I can give back to my constituents. So every time I get an invite, regardless, at the beginning, I was in my car, then I finally got to my computer. So I signed in on my computer, but I try not to miss them because the information that you give during these meetings has become invaluable to me. And I learned so much in this meeting regarding the land bank. So I do want to thank you for this.
Thank you so much, Carla. Next, we have Ms. Vela.
Hi, I am Christina Vela. I am with Vision Consulting Organization. I'm also a licensed real estate broker. And I just want to say thank you for setting this up. It was very informational.
Thank you, Christina. Next, I have Charles. Charles on an iPhone.
Hi, how are you? My name is Charles Leslie. I'm the owner of Leslie Construction. We specialize in single family and small commercial real estate and development. We also help aspiring entrepreneurs in the field of real estate, dealing with the Cook County Land Bank. We heard that a huge part of the submittal process was having your packet in order. And a part of that packet is being able to do a developmental feasibility study on the property before you buy it. The feasibility study lets you know exactly, it just crosses all the T's and dots the I's and lets you know if you're going to be able to afford that project. And that's something that we help a lot of people do. So if anybody's interested in, learning more about that process of developmental feasibility studies, I'll be glad to share any information I have. And you can email me at KDC Investment Group at yahoo.com. Thanks.
Thank you.
Can you say that one more time, your email address?
I'm sorry?
Can you say your email, or actually, can you put your email address in the thing on the side real quick so I can get it down?
Sure, let me try to figure out how to do that. I'm driving right now.
I know, I'm trying to figure it all out too, so.
Yeah, I'm actually.
Say it again. Say it again. Say it again, and I'll put it in the chat.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's the KDC Investment Group at
KDC
yahoo.com.
Investment Group at yahoo.com. KDC Investment Group at yahoo.com. I just put it in the chat. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you
All
got to put the word the in front of KDC.
Oh, the KDC.
Mm-hmm. All right, thanks. And thanks for having this call. It's a great call.
All right, I got it in there. The last email that I just put in the group. Next, I have Mr. Burnett.
Hi, my name is Michelle D. Burnett.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Burnett.
Hi, I'm with the DBC offices, and we provide meeting rooms, conference room, classroom, and office space for the Southland region. And I'm grateful to be able to have an opportunity to be on the call and to learn more. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Tierney Ralph.
Good afternoon. My name is Tierney Ralph. I am a new real estate investor. I was invited to this call by my business partner, so I am excited to learn more about this opportunity. Thanks for having me.
And thank you. And finally, we have Jay Danzy.
Hello, my name is Jamila Danzy. I work for a nonprofit as a court receiver for multifamily distressed properties. I saw the Zoom posting on CCOB's website, and I thought it would be interesting to listen in. So thanks so much for having me as well.
Thank you. Anybody else that I did not call out to, or somebody who couldn't speak earlier, if you could unmute yourself and give us an introduction. I don't believe we heard from Maria Williams. It does tell me that you're connecting to audio though. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody. I did put our website and our email address in the chat in case anybody has any questions, or if you'd like to be added to our mailing list, if you'd like to join the chamber. The website is southlandblackchamber.org. I also put our email address in there, info@southlandblackchamber.org. If anybody has any further questions for Mr. Rose that we can forward on. And if you want to join our mailing list, you can do that on our website, and I will make sure that we get those questions answered and we get an email out to everybody. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. Thank you all for joining us. Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.